Hello, everybody. Welcome along to your Rabble Live at 5, just a few short hours away from kick-off at Ibrox. Rangers versus Hibernian. My name's Martin. I'm your host, and my co-host today is Calum. Calum, how are you?
Mate, doing very, very well. All the better for that result yesterday. Really has put a real spring in my step, obviously. But, mate, I always love games at Ibrox under the floodlights, you know what I mean? And it's usually a good one when we play Hibs. It's going to be a tough game, but looking really forward to it. And hopefully we can put a bit of pressure on the other side with a big win tonight.
Well, let's just hope Rangers don't ruin that good result for yesterday, Calum, shall we?
Aye.
Because that is something that only Rangers could do. It really is. I don't know if many people have been watching this for a while. If this is your first time here, then ignore what I'm about to say for the next 30 seconds. But Calum, remember at the start of the season when Rangers were looking for a manager?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember how everybody was going through all the different names? Do you remember what name I said, Calum?
Stephen Robinson it was, I do believe that.
Well, was it Robinson? Was it? Oh, right. And did I make quite a big deal of it?
I think you mentioned it a few times, mate. Maybe once or twice.
I did mention it a few times, didn't I? Well, congratulations to Stevie Robinson. Showing that he's a manager who can win trophies in Scotland and who can do a good job in Scotland. And Ramy, don't FFS, mate. When I'm right, mate, I'm going to point it out and I'm going to be insufferable. So yes, congratulations to Stevie Robinson. Just on that result yesterday, Calum. Not about Celtic or St Mirren, about Rangers. How important do you think that was for us? I mean, look, a lot of stuff's happened in the last 15, 20 years. We've come back up through the leagues, and then we've got to a point where we couldn't compete in the beginning, and we should have been able to compete long before we actually did and win a league. So how big do you think that is, them not adding another trophy to their cabinet for this Rangers team?
Oh, I think it's huge, mate. It's the worst I've ever seen a manager start off at them. That's free in the bounce. And I think if he was able to maybe win that trophy, and maybe they can start to build something and they can put a bit more pressure on us and all that. But I think, what struck me about the game, there was no sort of debate about the scoreline. St Mirren easily deserved to win. They could have had more goals if they wanted. They were doing Celtic on the counter really easily. So, once again, I don't want to talk about them too much, but from our point of view, it really showed them as having real vulnerabilities that I don't think are going to be easily fixed by their new manager. I don't think, the way they're playing, that's something that's just going to turn overnight. So I think we need to really smell blood, because I think what that game's shown yesterday is we can still win a couple of trophies this season. Their competition isn't very strong. But once again, I think it does go back to our recruitment in January. I think we've got to get that right to even start thinking about it. But no, it's obviously a big boost. We've got to be smelling blood, as I say, and really looking to take the fight to them now, because the only disappointment is should have been us in that final, winning that trophy instead. But it's always good to see your rivals, getting properly drubbed, and it certainly should be something that gives us confidence.
You say that we should have been in that final and we should have won that trophy. There's no guarantees we beat St Mirren either. Let's be brutally honest about it, because they're a very well coached team. They've got a very, very good manager, and every single player knows what they're doing. I was at the Rangers women's game, to be fair, last night, so I missed it. But yeah, congratulations to Stevie Robinson. Could be the next Rangers manager. You never know what's going to happen. But I would certainly be throwing his hat in the ring now. Just a couple of bits of other news. I've done a wee short video today, Calum, and it's been kind of brought to the attention that Joe Rothwell has been told you're free to leave. You can go. And there seems to be, Calum, quite a few teams in the Championship looking at him. He's just nodding.
Yeah, I mean, I saw you. I was cutting out a wee bit there, but no, Rothwell. I was excited about him when he joined, because I think you looked at his CV and all that. He did do pretty well down in England. I remember we were looking at all the Leeds fans talking about him, and they were all absolutely buzzing with how he was playing for them. But it's not worked out for whatever reason. I think a lot of it's to do with his own fitness. Hasn't been great. I don't want to also BS though and say he's just been terrible for us, because I think there has been a few games with Rothwell where I think you could see there's a quality player there. I think he's got quite a good sort of passing range on him. He's probably quite good technically, but I think he struggled with the kind of physicality of the Scottish game. I don't think he was very used to it. he didn't really look very fit at any point when he was playing for Rangers. He didn't look like somebody who was going to cover a lot of area.
Yeah.
So probably is a good move for us overall, mate, because I think we've got other midfielders who can probably do a bit better for us. You like to see getting game time, look at your Camerons, you look at your Raskins, you look at your Barons. I'd probably rather be going with folk like them than trying to make it work with Rothwell. So it's one of these, mate. I've no doubt he's a good player. I think he probably will do pretty well when he goes back down south, but it just looks like one of these that's no worth coming up here to Scotland. We see that quite a lot, sort of both sides of Glasgow, so bit disappointing, but hopefully we don't lose too much money on him, and it allows us to kind of get a good replacement in and sort of strengthen that midfield, because I don't think he wasn't really offering all that much for us, to be honest.
Well, there's a question come in here. Where is it for Jordy? What's the price for Rothwell? I've got no idea, Calum, what Rangers would be looking for Joe Rothwell.
Mm-hmm. I think you'd maybe just take anything back, really. I'd take $1 million, couple million. I mean, we can't really ask for much for him.
Would you get that?
I don't even. Do you know how much we paid for him, Martin? I can't even mind.
I'm sure he was a free.
A free? Yeah, you're probably not getting much then, eh? But I don't even think it's necessarily about the money, that one. I just think it's a case of getting rid of a deadwood player that's not really worked, allowing us to sort of bed different players in there instead, So I think regardless of the money, probably better off just getting rid of him in January,
I'll be honest, if we can get our money back, if that's right, we paid between 400 and 500k for him. If we can get our money back, then it's another person off the wage bill as well, and that allows us to then go and reinvest that. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. It's just one of those players. Yeah, and I said this today as well. He's a good player. Mm-hmm. I mean, he showed that at Leeds last season, that he's a very, very good player. It's just sometimes these players come for the English Championship, Calum, and just can't cut it in Scotland.
Exactly. No, I totally agree. I think he is a good player. And as I say, I did see flashes when he was at Rangers, but it's a very hard league to adapt to. That's what we've got to remember. A lot of players do just fail here, even if they are good players. And, it's the same for other teams in Scotland. So I definitely think he's going to probably do well when he goes back to Sheffield United. I think, to be honest, he doesn't really strike me as a Rangers player. I kind of remember watching him, and he just didn't really seem like he had the body language for it. He didn't have the kind of mobility, as people are saying, and I just don't think it's the right club for him. I think Championship, lower Premier League, probably kick on, do really well there, but it's just time to cut our loss on that one, I think.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Ramey's asking, who else would you get rid of in January? Anybody that we can get money for, Calum, really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Matondo, he comes to mind straight away. There is some complete deadwood still on that team. I mean, I think Kieran Dowell, am I right in saying he's still kind of floating about? So there's definitely, I mean, I'd be getting rid of a lot of these loans as well. I've really not liked Nasser Giga at all. I'd be sending him straight back in January, get a new defender in. There's quite a lot you could go at, sadly. And I think that just shows you how bad a job Tellwell done in the summer. You really could get rid of a lot of them. But I think what's even more important, Martin, than the outgoings is we need to get quality in. That's the most important, man. It's all well and good getting rid of the deadwood, but we need proper replacements. I think particularly that defensive area, your centre-backs, your full-backs, proper replacements in. So there's got to be a lot of both, but also getting it done quickly, as I say. No dilly-dallying about it. Make sure we're ready to start off January.
Yeah, 100%, mate. 100%. And then what about's right, he didn't look fit. When paired with Raskin, they didn't complement each other, and he was sitting too deep opposed to being able to play his natural game. Just a terrible fit for Rangers. And I think that's probably, Shonna's just listing the whole team. I think that's probably a bit right. That's probably a bit right. So whatever happens with him, good luck in the future, Joe. It's just not worked at Rangers. Right, in terms of tonight, then, Calum, obviously, look, it's not that long until we find out the teams. Mm-hmm. Who are you expecting to be in that starting lineup?
Well, I'd like to see, in terms of the attack, I'd want to see Miovski back in there. I know, obviously, Ferencvaros wasn't great, but I think he did show the Kilmarnock game that
possible injury.
Yeah, possible injury, so that's maybe a tough one. I think I'd want to see Mikey Moore in there as well, though. I think he has been impressing a lot since Danny Rowe came in. I think he's probably our best attacker on form at the minute. And for me, I'd be going with Curtis again. I know it's probably not going to happen, but I'd like to see Curtis get a good run out on the right-hand side. I don't think Gassama...
Yeah, let's stick on that right now then, Calum, because you mentioned it, just in case I forget. Certainly Curtis, for me, came on in Europe and not changed the game, but it certainly made more of an impression on what you were just about to say there, Gassama.
Yeah.
Which, at the start of the season, you wouldn't have been replacing Gassama with anybody. I think that's how much his form's dipped. But I'm with you, mate. 100% Finlay Curtis should be starting the night.
Yeah, 100%. I say I don't think it's going to happen. I think he probably will stick with a Gassama, to be honest with you. But I think it'll be a good game for him. He didn't play the full 90 minutes in Europe the other day. I think it'd be good. I can't remember last time he started a league game for us, so it's kind of game I think you could give him a run out. I don't think that Hibs defence is particularly great either. I think Hibs are a kind of decent side, but I think they'll leave space, and I think we'll certainly get chances in behind them and all that. So I'd love to see Finlay use a bit of pace and skill, sort of work some of the defenders. It's a shame though, Ant-Man's another one. We're kind of like Rothwell, just not really seen it, have we? He was one I was very excited about, but you're not really even considering him wide at the minute, are you? And the other one, Martin, what about like Lyle Cameron? Do you think we could maybe see him starting a 10 or something today?
I would be amazed if he started. I'd be absolutely amazed. No, he's not been getting off the bench. There's no chance he's going to start, Calum.
Why is it, do you think? Because I just don't get that,
Again, and then Stuart Allison's asking the same question. The answer is, he apparently has been carrying a slight knock, which obviously doesn't help his chances. But the real answer is none of us know why he's not been getting started. All we can do is guess. And then when you guess, you're effectively just making something up. Is it just the case that the manager doesn't like him? Is it the fact that he's been carrying a knock and the manager doesn't want to risk him? Does the manager want to wait until January until he gets more players in? Is there certain players that he doesn't want to put into this team? I don't know. It's certainly a strange one. Would we be having this same conversation, though, Calum, if he wasn't a young Scottish player?
Possibly not. Aye, but I think what's more annoying about Cameron is when we've actually seen him play, he has looked really good though, Martin. I was thinking he's a real contender for your signing in the summer out of all the players we bought. I know we haven't seen much of him, but he looked very lively, very energetic, linking up the sort of attack in the midfield very well. I think he got us a goal in one of the European qualifiers and all, I remember, and he came off the back of a brilliant season over at Dundee. So, I get that, but I just can't see the justification for it. I know that we'll know the manager. He probably sees certain things we can't. But that's been the one big frustration for me with Roll, to be honest. There's a few of those kind of wee team selection things and the sub things I've not been too happy on. And that's kind of the big one for me, is I don't really see the justification. Especially when you got players like Asgard, who's just not really giving anything. Diomande in that same position, not really giving anything. I don't see why we can't try one of these boys out. You know what I mean? But I agree with you. I think it probably won't be, because he's not really had any game time at all. And do you think maybe Barron and Raskin in the midfield, possibly? Possibly,
yeah. He might switch it up and put Dio in there and bring Barron or Raskin out, or he might play Dio in there, or he might bring Asgard in. He seems to like Asgard for whatever reason, Calum. But there's so many people in our comments on social media, wherever you look, saying, what's his fascination with Asgard?
Asgard's another one. I don't think he's a bad player. I really don't believe that he's just a dud. I think you've seen done pretty well down in England by all accounts. He's done pretty well by the Norway international team. I think he's another one as well, although it has been very few and far between. You have seen flashes in a Rangers kit. I remember the game against Dundee United, Stevie Smith. Brilliant game. Scored a really, really good goal in that game. And he does occasionally show the wee flash, but he's another one where you can't really put what it's down to, why he's not really been successful. Difficult one to judge, but it's just not really working at all. I actually would say, though, if I was to choose, I probably would still go with Asgard ahead of Diomande, because as much as I think Asgard's not offered much, I think Diomande, even less for me. I'm not seeing anything for him at all really this season. So for me, I'd be putting Cameron in the 10 if it was my choice. Probably not going to happen. And Asgard, yeah.
Asgard.
Would you get rid of him, Martin, or do you give him a bit more time? You think January?
Again, I know it might sound harsh, because he needs more time to settle. Who knows? But as it stands right now, for me, just looking at it in my own judgment, he's not good. It's not he's not good enough. He doesn't suit Scottish football like Joe Rothwell. He wants a lot more time on the ball than he's going to get. He wants to play fancy flicks and tricks, and he's got quality. He's got really good quality, but not for Scotland, Calum.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's one of these where he's got a bit of technical ability about him, but I think it seems like he struggles to adapt the kind of physicality of the league, like with Rothwell, Because I think if you look at a Cameron when he's played this season, what he offers you is that real aggression. chasing every ball down, really intense pressing and all that. And I think it's safe to say you don't really get that by Asgard. He's not chasing the defenders down all game. He's not really kind of working the opponents. So yeah, you're probably right there. I'd maybe want to give him a bit more time. I think it is quite harsh, only 6 months. But if you're being honest, he hasn't really shown much at all since he has joined here. But, I mean, you've got Dode the Greek in the comments there saying he'll make his money. That's another thing. He's someone you want to be getting a good profit on as well, Martin. Because he's a young guy we got from down in England. That's someone you play a trading model that's always spoken about, make a good profit. And I think you're selling him in January, Martin. You're probably not going to make much money on him, are you?
Again, it's the wage bill for me. Get him off the wage bill. Get whatever money you can in. Andrew Kavanagh's going to need to take the hit for the financial side of it because he's the one that employed Thelwell. He's the one that employed Patrick Stewart. He's the one that okayed the transfers. Hopefully he's learned for that though. And he's learned what players work and what players don't. And we fixed that for January. But just going back to the game tonight, then, Calum, I had a wee quick look there. In the last 5 league games, 2 wins to Rangers, 2 draws and 1 Hibs win. So, yes, we've had a couple of wins in there, but it's not been all plain sailing. So, this is going to be a tricky game tonight.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I think Hibs have been a bit of a bin fire in recent years, but I think David Gray has done a pretty good job since he's come in, I think a year and a bit ago. And it's going to be a tough game. Kieran Bowie, he's a player who's on good form at the minute. Martin Boyle always gives us a tough game. And I think for me, as I said a wee bit earlier, I think Hibs got a good attack, quite a good midfield, but I think they're quite vulnerable at the back. And I don't think they've got the best defence. So I think really see if we can get at that defence, play high, play attacking, and hopefully, I know our defence is a total joke, but hopefully we can try to keep a clean sheet. But no, it's going to be really, really tough, man. Hibs are always up for it at Ibrox as well. That really is a kind of cup final game for them. We all know that. It really is a cup final, so they're going to be absolutely ready to go against us. Really, really tough. And what's worrying me, mate, is that defence tonight. I mean, I just don't have any confidence in that defence at the moment. Don't think there's anywhere near enough quality there. But there's still no excuses because we should have good enough players to be going out and dispatching a Hibs. So it's going to be tough. I'm not expecting it to be the prettiest game. I'm not really expecting us to batter them. They are in good form. They're a good team, but no excuse not to be getting the win and taking care of Hibs. Don't care if it's a bit ugly, but you see a good team performance, create chances, defend a wee bit better, and get the win. I'd be pretty happy with that, I think.
Well, you talk about Martin Boyle, you talk about Bowie. I think they've got both Caddens, haven't they?
Yep.
As well, Hibs. They've got Mulligan in there. They've got a good core of players, a good core of Scottish players. I know Martin Boyle's Australian before anybody starts. They've got a good core of Scottish players in there. But Martin Boyle, the last couple of games hasn't really caused us any problems.
Yeah, true. I think, he probably had his best run against us a few years ago. He has been relative. Actually, do you know what I think it was? I can actually remember Barisic would always have a howler against him, man. I think he kind of knew how to play against Barisic, and I think that helped him out quite a lot. But yeah, relatively quiet recently. But you always know with Martin Boyle, he's a dangerous player. He's been around the league for a long time, and he has punished us a fair few times in the past. And once again, I look at that, but our defence, I'm a bit worried about that, to be honest. Your Bowies, your kind of McLarens, your Caddens, and sort of these guys running at them. It does make for a bit of fear for me, if I'm honest. But yeah, they're not a great team by any means, Hibs. I still don't think they're up there with your Hearts, even your Motherwells, really. But they're a good SPL team. This is their cup final, so it's going to be a really, really tough game. We're obviously not in the best of form, but I think if we can sort of just part of Europe to one side of defeat in midweek, and just try and continue some of that form for the Kilmarnock game, focus on creating good chances, being clinical like we were in that game. Miovski with 2 nice finishes. And I think that's the key. Because it'll be a massive win if we can do it, close the gap to 3 points, and you're putting some serious pressure on. So that's obvious to say, but a massive game once again for Danny Rowland. Really a must win, or it's going to just kill the fan base again,
Alan Austin, Giga will take care of this David Bowie character. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of David Bowie, to be honest. My dad absolutely adores and loves David Bowie. Not a fan of him at all. But Kieran Bowie as well. Again, I haven't watched a great deal of Hibs this season, Calum, but by all accounts, and I'm no doubt the comments will tell me if I'm wrong, Bowie hasn't had the same sort of start to the season or season so far that he had last. So hopefully we can keep him quiet tonight. And that leads me on to my next question. Who plays centre-back with Fernandes? Is Giga suspended?
Sure.
I don't know. I don't think so. But will they make any changes at the back, do you think?
Well, I mean, just to repeat it, I really don't rate this Giga at all. He would not be getting in any Rangers team for me because I just don't think he's a very good defender.
None of the centre-backs really would, to be honest, Calum.
None of them would, but he's certainly one I would be avoiding. Another one, Clinton and Ciala. Like, can we see this guy get a bit of game time? I know it's probably not going to be the night, but I just think you look at how bad that defence is, and it really is a bad Rangers defence, and I've seen some poor ones. This is right up there. Why can't we give someone like that a bit of game time to see what he can do? Because when we see him last season, he didn't look all that bad. So if it's down to me personally, I'd maybe be chucking him in to see what he can do, but Fernandes, he definitely starts for me. Although I think he was pretty bad midweek, and I don't think he's been great. I think he probably has been our best centre back. Once again, really low bar. I'm not saying he's been great at all, but I think Fernandes would start.
I think there's been some improvements with Giga, to be fair. And I mean, as multiple man saying, this is his last chance he can play before AFCON.
Yeah, so it will be Giga then, I think, because I don't think Suter's available either, is he? Is he no injured? So yeah, I think it's going to be Fernandes and Giga. I think he'll probably might play Tav in the back three again and then go with Aarons and Magoma, but I think Fernandes and Giga's pretty nailed on, to be honest.
I'll just say, Kerr, I was about to phone you, and then I remembered that you would be going to Ibrox, so I didn't bother. But I was about to phone you. And welcome in, not another Rangers podcast. Yeah, right. Well, so we don't know what's going to happen in defence. We know who's going to be in goal. We don't really know what's happening in the midfield. And we don't know what's happening up front, Calum. So we're pretty knowledgeable about what's going to happen tonight, aren't we?
Aye, yeah. I mean, I think this is a big problem, mate. We really need to find out what our best 11 is, and I think that's what Danny Roll needs to find next, because it's been a lot of chopping and changing, and a lot of players have been very inconsistent. But I think we can start to get a bit of rhythm in the team, so we're not doing pure guesswork every time at who's going to play. I think that will definitely help out. I think once again that'll be a lot easier if we have a good January window. If you can get a lot of this deadwood out, your Rothwells, your Matondos, and get some quality in, you should then have a much clearer idea of sort of who your starters are and who your bench players are. But yeah, it is a bit of a mystery at the minute. I couldn't really say with much certainty in many of the positions apart from Butland's really. And yeah, it's not a great place to be in if you're a Rangers manager. But hopefully with a big performance tonight, maybe get a bit of a better grasp of who's a proper Rangers player, who's ready to play here and who's not. I think there's certainly a few you can write off. I think Chermiti, I think I'm just done with that guy. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't be starting him. I know we paid so much money for him.
We have to.
I know, well, you kind of do have to, but do you know what I mean? He's not even offered anything, mate. Like, I can't even see a flash with him, At least with Danilo Martin, I can kind of see it sometimes, and he has delivered sometimes. Like, with this guy Chermiti, though, there is literally nothing there for me to justify him playing,
No, mate, I totally agree with you, but we've put ourselves into a position where I know I says let's just sell whoever we can for whatever we can, get them off the wage bill. We need to make some money on this Chermiti boy. And whether that's by making some money, what I mean is we have to take as small a loss as possible as it stands right now. Now, he could start the night, Calum, bag a hat trick and turn into the best player that we've ever seen, which I hope happens. I really do hope happens. Just seen no evidence of it. So I say that as it sits right now, that we need to try and get that boy scoring. We need to try and do everything we can to at least pretend he's a good player.
Yeah, but I don't know, mate. I think the fact that Tailwell done it, everyone's saying it's like a corrupt signing. You had McCoy saying like it needs to be investigated and all that for how bad it was. I just think it's very, very difficult to recover from that, and I've not really seen anything that suggests to me he will. I think, unfortunately, Chermiti just strikes me as an absolute howler of a signing, to be honest. I just don't think that's one we're going to be making much money back off. And sadly, it's a lot of money wasted on Rangers. And once again, like you're saying, hope he proves me wrong, and you never know, but I've not even seen anything. See something I really quickly want to bring up with you as well, Martin, because I'm kind of interested in your take. What do you think of Max Aarons? Would you be playing him tonight, possibly wing back, or do you think he's been a bit better?
I was literally just about to come to you with that, because my point was going to be that Magoma comes back into left back, and even if he's playing a 3 or a 2 at the back, your right-sided wing-back or your right-back, it's got to be Aarons in before Tav, is it not, Calum? And the reason that I say it's got to be is he looked so slow against Ferencváros that he needs the rest.
Yeah. Two things on that. I think first of all, you're talking about Tav. He has had a dreadful season, and I think that was one of his worst games the other night. But his legs are totally gone. I know it's obvious, and we've been talking about it for ages, but Tavernier is just not good enough to be playing for Rangers, just defensively going forward, because he doesn't even get you the goals and assists anymore. You know, he used to be able to rely on him for a good 10, 20 goal contributions a season, but it's just not in his locker anymore. Now, when it comes to Aarons, though, I would say when he plays at left back, I think he is absolutely rotten. He's one of the worst Rangers defenders I've ever seen, because I don't think he has a left foot at all. Right wing back, I think he's a bit better. And once again, I don't want to act like he's been great, he's been good, because I don't think he has been particularly good, but I have noticed a wee bit of improvement on him, I think, when it's a kind of back five and he's out in the right wing back. I think he is slightly better. So I think if you're playing Tav, it's got to be at centre back, but I wouldn't even play him anyway. And I think right back for me, right wing back, it's got to be Max Aarons in there. And just quickly as well on the other side, I think Magoma, though, decent player. He's one of the few ones I'd say you maybe get pass marks on in the summer. I think once again he's not been great by any means, not let the world delight, but I'd be fairly happy with him at left back or left wing back today. It's more that right hand side where I'm a bit nervy, but I think it would be Aarons for me if I had the choice.
Yeah, 100%, mate. 100%. And we can't leave because obviously, look, we're back at 7 tonight, folks, on the Rabble members page on YouTube and Patreon for full match day coverage starting at 7 o'clock with your build up, and it goes straight into your watch along. Then you've got your halftime show and your watch alongs back, obviously, and then you've got immediate post match reaction over there as well. The show usually runs for between 3.5 and 4 hours. It's continuous, so it doesn't stop, so you don't need to come out and go back in and click on different streams. So if you want to get that for the low price of £1.99 per month, less than a coffee, then click the links in the description now, either YouTube or Patreon. You pick what one you prefer and you join and you help support independent Rangers media. Kyle Glasgow playing for Portugal tomorrow, Calum. Young boy in at Rangers. I don't know, is it the Portugal under 16s? I think he's away. Amazing for him.
Yep, amazing for him, and that's something we can all be pretty chuffed about. You know what I mean? One of our own academy players getting into one of the best sort of development countries in the world. So hopefully that does the boy a whole world of good. You'd imagine he's going to be alongside a lot of real talented players in there. And, just fair play to him, because at that age to be getting called up to the Portugal side, it's pretty damn impressive. It's not very often Rangers have players who are getting sort of call-ups for countries like that. So hopefully he's one to really watch for the future. Everything I've heard about this boy's been amazing. I probably don't keep up with the academy as much as you, but all the clips I've seen, everyone I've seen talking about him says this guy is a really, really top quality talent. So I think with him, my main thing with him is just let's nurture him properly this time. So many times in the past with Rangers, I think we've really messed up on the youth development front. We've not given them enough minutes. We've maybe kind of sold them, loaned them at the wrong time. I know it's very early days for the boy, but I think do the best we can to support him. Hopefully has a great time over in Portugal. And hopefully he's a great player for us one day. But that's something we can all be a bit positive about, our young players doing well. So certainly some good news.
100%. Sorry if this is a stupid question, but he doesn't sound very Portuguese. How's he not playing for Scotland? Because Scotland weren't quick enough off the mark to bring him in. But then you could ask, well, why is Scott McTominay playing for Scotland? Why are Scotland trying to get Harvey Barnes to play for them? Mm-hmm. Nationality doesn't really seem to matter anymore at international level. Look at the Scotland team that, before your time, Calum, that was at the 1998 World Cup. There'd be 3 or 4 English players in it. So, yeah. Kyle, however you would then pronounce that. Absolutely. His mum's Portuguese. There we go. Right, folks, that will do us. Like I say, we're back tonight at 7 p.m. for your full match day coverage. So if you haven't already, then sign up as a member and join us on the Rabble Network. Calum, thank you very much.
Cheers, mate. Really good fun, and hopefully big win for us tonight. Fingers crossed.
Hopefully. Please do like, share, and subscribe as well if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching on Patreon, make sure you're following. And if you're watching on Twitter, make sure that you retweet and like and and follow. It's so hard to keep up with all the different socials, Calum. So hard. Especially my age. But right, folks, listen, thank you. Enjoy the game tonight. Hopefully we'll see you all on the watch along, the match day coverage, because I know that it's Hightower that's on tonight. He's back tonight, so you can go and join him there. Just thank you for all the support, folks. It really does mean so much. And we'll speak very, very soon.